All right, so we're back to this circuit, but I removed the control inputs for the switch. And what I want to do is I want to drive the switch with a pulse source so I can show you how we can use the switch in a transient simulation. So let's go ahead and ground the minus terminal just because we can use that as a 0 volt reference, which is really useful. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to instantiate a new voltage source, and I'm going to use that voltage source to drive my switch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this to the plus terminal of my switch, and then I'm going to ground this terminal, and this label will be V switch or VSW, I'll call it. And what I want to do is I want to make this a pulse source. Okay, so we're going to make this a pulse, and what I'm going to do is I am going to make my initial voltage -1. That voltage is less than 0, right? So my switch will be off whenever the voltage is -1. And I'm going to make it +1 on the other half of the cycle, and my switch will be on whenever the voltage is 1 because that's greater than 0. Okay, I'll give it a, I guess I'll give it a 1 millisecond delay before it turns on. I'll give it very fast rise and fall times, nanosecond rise and fall times. I'll make my on time 1 millisecond, and I'll make my period 2 milliseconds. Okay. So actually, let's go ahead and drag the rest of this circuit out of the way so that I can actually see my pulse source. Okay, so that's my circuit right there. And I'm going to get rid of my .op, and I am going to make this a transient that runs for 10, or let's make it 11 milliseconds. So I get my delay time and then 5 periods. Okay, so we're ready to run this. Let's go ahead and run it. I'm going to go ahead and open up my Spice plot window on the left. And so let's first look at our switch voltage. So that is bouncing between -1 and 1. I'll add a plot pane here. And let's see what my source voltage looks like. It's a flat 5 volts, of course. And so what is my VR going to look like? Let's go ahead and take a peek. My VR is 0 whenever my switch is off, when it's -1 volts at the plus input, and my VR is 5 volts whenever the switch is on, right? We can see that. Let me go ahead and space these out like I like to do so that we can actually get a nice little look at that. 1.5, and let's go -1.5. Okay, and then I'll add one more pane, which is great. And let's look at the current through the resistor. The resistor current should also be on, or 1 milliamp, when my switch is on, and it should be 0 when my switch is off. So let's go ahead and take a look. Oh, they have it spaced pretty weird. Let's go 1.2 to a -0.2 milli. And there it is, swinging between 0 and 1 milliamp. Okay, so that is how we use the switch for a transient simulation. We can drive it with a pulse source and turn it on and off. I like to ground the minus terminal and then just use -1 and 1. Any voltages above the reference will turn it on, and any voltage below the reference will turn it off. So that's how we use the switch. Hope that this helps you to understand how to use the switch moving forward and how to understand circuits that contain the switch. Feel free to reach out and ask any questions that you have regarding this type of circuit or these switches. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end this video here.